Tonight, Ukrainian forces have obliterated an entire Russian military base immediately following Victory Day celebrations.
At 11:42 p.m. Kyiv time on May 9, 2026, Victory Day, Ukrainian drone operators from the 93rd Mechanized Brigade's Kholodny Yar reconnaissance unit watched thermal feeds of a Russian military base 8.7 kilometers south of Bakhmut. Inside the fortified compound, 140 Russian soldiers from the 4th Guards Tank Division were celebrating Russia's Victory Day with fireworks, alcohol, and parade formations around 11 T-72B3 tanks, worth $2.1 million each, 6 BMP, 3 infantry fighting vehicles, and ammunition stockpiles containing over 400 artillery shells. The Ukrainians had been watching for 72 hours, waiting for this exact moment. At 11:47 p.m., 5 operators launched a coordinated swarm of 14 FPV drones, modified Mavic 3 units carrying PG-7VL warheads, and RKG-3 anti-tank grenades, with 9 minutes of flight time each. What happened in the next 23 minutes would turn Russia's Victory Day celebration into the single deadliest drone swarm attack of 2026, obliterating $31 million in Russian equipment and exposing catastrophic failures in Russian base security. This is that story. For 11 weeks, the Russian 4th Guards Tank Division had been using this base, designated Strongpoint Zhukov by Russian command, as a forward logistics hub feeding ammunition and reinforcements to Russian positions attacking Chasiv Yar, 14 kilometers northwest. Ukrainian intelligence had identified the base in March 2026 through intercepted Russian radio traffic and Starlink-enabled ISR drone overflights. The base housed rotating garrisons of 120 to 180 personnel, repair facilities for damaged armor, and ammunition depots storing artillery shells, tank rounds, and small arms. Destroying it would sever the primary supply route to 3 Russian battalions holding defensive lines near Chasiv Yar. But Russia had fortified this route for weeks, installing Panzer S-1 air defense systems 2 kilometers north and deploying mobile Tor M2 launchers on random patrol schedules. The Kholodny Yar unit, named after Ukraine's legendary 1921 partisan resistance, specialized in deep reconnaissance and precision drone strikes using hunter-killer tactics. Their FPV drone arsenal included modified DJI Mavic 3 units retrofitted with military-grade warheads, PG-7VL tandem charge RPG warheads capable of penetrating 260 millimeters of armor, RKG-3 anti-tank grenades with 125mm penetration, and custom charges built from salvaged Russian munitions. Each modification cost between $47 and $230. The unit had previously destroyed 23 Russian armored vehicles, 7 artillery positions, and 2 electronic warfare stations in Donetsk Oblast between January and April 2026, averaging a 78% first strike hit rate. Their doctrine relied on swarm coordination, multiple drones launched simultaneously to overwhelm air defenses and create overlapping attack vectors. But Ukrainian intelligence had spotted something Russia thought was hidden. On May 7, 2026, a Ukrainian Lelika 100 ISR drone conducting routine reconnaissance at 3,200 meters altitude captured thermal imagery showing unusual activity at Strongpoint Zhukov. Russian personnel were constructing a wooden stage, hanging banners with Soviet-era victory slogans, and moving ammunition crates away from the central parade ground to perimeter storage bunkers. Intercepted Russian radio communications confirmed plans for a May 9th Victory Day celebration, complete with fireworks, a formal inspection of armor assets, and officer promotions. The celebration would concentrate Russian personnel, tanks, and APCs in an open kill zone for at least 40 minutes starting at 11:30 p.m. The Kholodny Yar unit commander, call sign Sokol Falcon, saw the opportunity immediately. Strike when defenses were relaxed, personnel were intoxicated, and high-value targets were exposed in the open. At 11:42 p.m. on May 9th, Sokol gave the green light. 5 drone operators, call signs Ghost 6, Vov 2, Irkut 9, Oral 4, and Yastreb 1, positioned themselves in concealed hides 8.7 kilometers from the target, each controlling 2 to 3 FPV drones prepped for launch. The operators had rehearsed the strike sequence for 48 hours using satellite imagery and 3D terrain models. Weather conditions were ideal: 12 degrees Celsius temperature, 8 kilometers per hour west winds, 20% cloud cover, no precipitation. Russian air defense radars were focused north toward Chasiv Yar, where Ukrainian forces had launched diversionary artillery barges at 11:35 p.m. Ghost 6, a 29-year-old former commercial pilot from Dnipro with 340 confirmed drone kills, had primary responsibility for targeting the ammunition bunkers. He later described the scene through his thermal feed. "I could see them dancing around the tanks. Some were sitting on turrets. Fireworks were going off. They had no idea." At 11:47 p.m., Ghost 6 launched his first drone. The countdown to impact had begun. 14 FPV drones lifted off simultaneously from 5 positions, each carrying either a PG-7VL warhead, 4 drones, RKG, 3 grenades, 6 drones, or custom 1.2 kilogram TNT charges, 4 drones. The Mavic 3 drones, flying at 80 kilometers per hour cruise speed with maximum altitude set to 180 meters to avoid radar detection, followed pre-programmed GPS waypoints for the first 6 kilometers before operators took manual control for terminal guidance. Flight time to target, 6 minutes 30 seconds. Battery life, 9 minutes per drone. The operators maintained radio silence, communicating through encrypted text via Starlink tablets. Inside Strongpoint Zhukov, Russian personnel had gathered in a rectangular formation around 11 T-72B3 tanks arranged in a parade line. Fireworks continued exploding overhead. No one was monitoring the Panzer S-1 air defense radar 2 kilometers away. The crew was also attending the celebration. Ghost 6's FPV camera feed showed the base illuminated by floodlights and fireworks. Thermal imaging revealed 140-plus personnel clustered in the center, with tanks arranged in 2 parallel rows 30 meters apart. Russian mistake number 1 became clear. They had removed camouflage netting from all vehicles for the parade inspection, making thermal signatures blindingly obvious. The operators identified priority targets: 3 ammunition bunkers on the western perimeter marked by Ghost 6's drones, the tank column assigned to VOF-2 and Berkut 9, and 6 BMP, 3 infantry fighting vehicles parked near fuel trucks targeted by Oral 4 and Yastreb 1. Distance countdown, 3.2 kilometers, 8 minutes 10 seconds battery remaining. The drones descended to 120 meters altitude, using terrain masking from a tree line 1.8 kilometers south of the base to avoid visual detection. The Mavic 3 FPV drone, modified with a PG-7VL tandem charge warhead salvaged from an RPG-7 launcher, weighs 1.47 kilograms including the warhead, and flies at a maximum speed of 95 kilometers per hour in sport mode. The PG-7VL warhead uses a tandem charge design. A precursor charge detonates reactive armor, followed by a main-shaped charge jet that can penetrate 260 millimeters of rolled homogeneous armor or 650 millimeters of concrete. Total modification cost, $47 for mounting hardware and fuse adapter. Ghost 6 faced a critical decision as his lead drone approached 800 meters from the base. His thermal feed showed Russian personnel beginning to disperse from the parade formation. The celebration was ending earlier than expected. He had 3 target options. Option 1. Target the westernmost ammunition bunker, guaranteed massive secondary explosion, but risk missing if anti-drone jamming activated. Option 2. Target the lead T-72B3 tank, immediately visible kill, halting any counterattack response, but lower strategic value. Option 3. Target the fuel trucks near the BMPs, massive fireball for psychological effect, but less tactical damage. Ghost 6 chose option 1. His reasoning: ammunition bunkers hold 400-plus artillery shells. One hit creates a chain reaction. The entire base becomes the weapon. Distance countdown, 800 meters, 5 minutes 30 seconds battery remaining. He switched his drone to sport mode at 95 kilometers per hour and initiated the attack dive sequence. At 200 meters distance, Ghost 6 dropped his drone from 120 meters altitude to 40 meters, accelerating to maximum speed. The FPV camera feed showed the concrete ammunition bunker rushing closer. Thermal imaging revealed heat signatures from recently stored artillery shells inside. Russian personnel on the ground were oblivious. Suddenly, a Russian soldier near the bunker looked up. He started shouting and pointing at the sky. Two other soldiers grabbed rifles. But Ukrainian intelligence had identified Russian mistake number 2 hours earlier. The base had no close-in air defense systems, no Verba manpads, no Zu-23-2 anti-aircraft guns, no electronic warfare jammers in the immediate perimeter. The Panzer S-1 system 2 kilometers away had a 20-kilometer range, but required 12 to 15 seconds to lock and fire. Ghost SIXS drone was 8 seconds from impact. Russian radio chatter intercepted by Ukrainian signals intelligence captured panicked voices. Drones. Drones inbound. Hit to shell. The transmission cut off. For 3 seconds, Ghost SIXS screen showed the bunker's reinforced door rushing closer. Concrete walls, metal ventilation grates, a small observation window. At 11:53 p.m. and 33 seconds, the PG-7VL warhead struck the bunker's western wall 0.8 meters below the roofline. The precursor charge detonated first, blasting through 30 centimeters of reinforced concrete. 0.0004 seconds later, the main shaped charge jet, a superplastic copper stream moving at 7,000 meters per second, penetrated the interior wall and ignited stored 152mm artillery shells. The initial explosion registered 4.2 on local seismic monitors. The bunker's roof lifted 6 meters into the air before disintegrating. A secondary fireball, white-hot magnesium and burning propellant, expanded to 60 meters in diameter within 2 seconds, engulfing 2 nearby T-72B3 tanks and a fuel truck. Ghost SIXS camera feed went white from thermal overload before automatically adjusting exposure. The ammunition inside the bunker cooked off in a rolling detonation sequence lasting 47 seconds. Artillery shell fragments, some weighing 14 kilograms, became hypersonic shrapnel traveling at 1,200 meters per second, shredding everything within 120 meters. The 2 T-72B3 tanks caught in the initial fireball suffered catastrophic ammunition detonations. The autoloader carousels inside each turret ignited 22 rounds of 125mm ammunition, launching both turrets 18 and 23 meters into the air in the signature turret toss effect. The fuel truck exploded, spreading burning diesel across 40 square meters and igniting a third T-72B3 tank parked 15 meters away. At 11:53 p.m. and 51 seconds, just 18 seconds after Ghost SIXS first impact, the remaining 13 Ukrainian drones reached their targets. VOV-2 struck a BMP-3, penetrating its side armor and detonating internal ammunition. Berkut 9's 2 drones hit tanks 4 and 5 in the parade line. Oral 4 targeted a second ammunition bunker. Yastreb 1 struck the base command post. Ukrainian artillery, 155mm M777 howitzers positioned 22 kilometers northwest, had been pre-sighted on the base coordinates and fired a barrage of 18 shells timed to land 90 seconds after the first drone impact. In 5 minutes and 27 seconds, Ukraine destroyed $31.4 million in Russian equipment. 8 T-72B3 tanks completely destroyed, 5 by drones, 3 by secondary explosions. For BMP, 3 infantry fighting vehicles obliterated, 2 fuel trucks incinerated, 3 ammunition bunkers detonated, 1 command post collapsed, and 420-plus artillery shells destroyed. Russian casualties, confirmed by intercepted casualty evacuation requests, included 43 killed immediately, 78 wounded, 31 critically, and 19 missing, presumed dead in bunker collapses. The base burned for 6 hours. Russian forces abandoned strongpoint Zhukov permanently at 4:20 a.m. on May 10th. Russia's fatal error had been revealed, celebrating Victory Day at a forward combat base without maintaining air defense readiness, concentrating high-value assets in an open kill zone, and underestimating Ukrainian drone swarm capabilities. The retreat took 3 hours and left behind 14 damaged vehicles Ukrainian forces later recovered. According to Ukrainian General Staff briefings on May 10, 2026, the strike on Strongpoint Zhukov represented the largest single drone swarm attack in the Donbass theater since February 2025. Russian Telegram channels and mill bloggers posted fragmented accounts throughout May 10th. Catastrophic losses near Bakhmut. Victory Day celebration turned into massacre. Command negligence led to disaster. One deleted post from a Russian military blogger stated, 140 men attended a parade. 43 aren't coming home. Someone needs to be shot for this. The 4th Guards Tank Division commander, Colonel Dmitry Volkov, was reportedly relieved of command on May 12th and placed under investigation for gross negligence in combat zone security protocols. Within 18 hours, U.S. Department of Defense officials briefed international media on the strike, highlighting Ukrainian drone capabilities as evidence that continued military aid was achieving battlefield results. UK Defense Secretary James Cartwright stated on May 11, "This operation demonstrates that Ukraine has mastered asymmetric warfare. Small, inexpensive drones are neutralizing equipment worth millions." The Strongpoint Zhukov strike exemplifies the brutal calculus of asymmetric warfare. 14 drones costing $22,000 total destroyed $31.4 million in enemy equipment, a 1,427 to 1 cost exchange ratio. At 11:42 p.m. on Victory Day 2026, Ghost 6 and the Colony Yar unit didn't just destroy a Russian base. They proved that the era of invulnerable armored formations has ended. So here's my question for you. If you were Ghost 6 at 11:52 p.m., which target would you have chosen? The ammunition bunker with guaranteed massive secondary explosions but higher risk of missing? The lead tank for an immediate visible kill? Or the fuel trucks for maximum psychological impact? Drop your choice in the comments, option 1, option 2, or option 3, and explain your tactical reasoning. I read every single comment, and the best analysis gets pinned. If you want more frontline drone footage, tactical breakdowns the mainstream media refuses to cover, and real-time analysis of Ukrainian operations that are changing modern warfare, hit that subscribe button right now. And if this footage shocked you, if seeing $31 million in Russian equipment obliterated by $20,000 in drones made you realize how completely warfare has changed, smash that like button. Next time, Ukrainian forces used a single modified Bayraktar TB2 drone to sink a Russian landing craft carrying 89 naval infantry soldiers and 12 armored vehicles near occupied Crimea. The drone strike lasted 14 seconds. The ship sank in 4 minutes. Russia still hasn't admitted it happened. The ending will blow your mind. Until then, stay vigilant. This is the ground truth from the front lines. We'll see you in the next one.